Welcome back everyone to part 6 of our epic 2022 adventure. This week you found us at Dangar Falls in the New South Wales Northern Rivers region, checking out the waterfall right in the middle of a big storm. To check out how we got to this stage, make sure you've subscribed and checked out all the other episodes in this epic adventure-filled series. In today's episode, we will be continuing our trek east across the Waterfall Way, seeing some more epic waterfalls on our trek into the Coffs Coast region. We will be stopping in at the Big Banana in Coffs Harbor before trying to find a camp sometime in the afternoon. We have no idea where we will end up tonight. But with all that being said, it's time to catch up with Ryan and the boys at Dangar Falls, just out of Dorrigo. What an awesome walk that Dangar Falls, or Lower Dangar Falls walk is. Even though it's raining, it's actually quite hot and still very humid around here. It's almost perfect weather to go swimming in, but you wouldn't think that. Anyway, now that we've had a look at the beautiful Dangar Falls, we're going to slowly start making our way towards Coffs Harbor. Really excited for that. Again, have no idea where we'll be tonight, so yeah, who knows. We'll see where the rest of the day takes us. So back on the road again after our stop off at the beautiful Dangar Falls back there. It's just absolutely stunning area. Now we're on our way in, and the next stop should be the Big Banana in Coffs Harbor. I know all the boys are pretty keen to see that. It's been quite a few years since I've been into Coffs Harbor as well, and I'm looking forward to it. The drive from Dangar Falls and Dorrigo into Coffs Harbor is absolutely beautiful. Dangar Falls was absolutely awesome, especially in the wet weather. The falls were absolutely pumping. Now it was time for us to continue our trek down the Waterfall Way towards Coffs Harbor. Along the drive there are many waterfalls that flow literally right along the road. It's an awesome sight to see, especially after some rain. I don't think there's a much better place to head than Waterfall Way after some rain. As much as the rain normally sucks, it added an incredible atmosphere to our adventure through this region. It's only around an hour's drive from Dangar Falls in Dorrigo to Coffs Harbor. We had the Big Banana in mind as our first stop off for the day. From there we didn't really have much else planned. It had been many years since I'd been to Coffs Harbor and we were all really excited. As we continued our drive down the Waterfall Way, it was obvious that a lot of rain had come through the region as there was water everywhere. Despite the wet weather, it was actually still very hot and humid. The closer we got to Coffs Harbor, the clearer the weather got, and the rain clouds disappeared and gave way to the blue sky. This was turning out to be a decent day. So we're just coming through Bellingen now, and it's pretty clear that there's a lot of water that's been through this region. And even though it's been pretty wet the last couple of days, it's still really hot. It's still 30 degrees outside now, and it's overcast and looks like it's going to rain again. So it's really, really humid rain. And kind of sucks, but I just wish the weather would make its mind up, you know, one or the other. I don't think we'd mind if it was hot, and I don't think we'd mind if it rained, but constantly switching just makes for a very humid day. Anyway, we're only about half an hour now out of Coffs Harbor. Pretty excited to go in and check out the Big Banana. It's been quite a while, so looking forward to that. At the end of the Waterfall Way, you're greeted to the Pacific Highway. From here, it's only a short 25-minute peg north, and then we would be in Coffs Harbor. Alright, we made it to the Big Banana. It's a bit hard to find a parking spot, but yeah, we'll go show you guys a look. It's pretty packed here. The Big Banana was built in 1964 and was one of Australia's first big attractions. Many large oversized objects can now be found all over the country, including the big golden guitar which we visited earlier on in the series. The Big Banana is located just off the Pacific Highway and is impossible to miss. Along with the store, there are many other things to do here, including a water park and other attractions such as laser tag. There are also plantation tours available from here. There's a food outlet here at the Big Banana where we will be stopping in to have lunch. So we're now inside the Big Banana. Nice.
Big banana. And in the Big Banana.
In the Big Banana. So we decided to actually have lunch here at the Big Banana. So many people here. But that's alright. A nice view of the highway and the banana. Look, there it is behind me. Anyway. Yeah, so then after this, we'll find somewhere to camp. Alrighty, so we're going to go and have a look around Coffs Harbor, have a look at the shops. There's a few shops the boys want to have a look at, and then we're going to head up to Maxville. There's a few free camps around there that we'll have a look at, hopefully get a nice one by the water this afternoon sometime. Funny enough, the weather is actually pretty clear right now over Coffs Harbor, but looking right in front of us it's pretty miserable, so you'd wish it would just make up its mind. Anyway, fingers crossed for the best weather, and we'll continue on with the day. See where it takes us. The Big Banana was absolutely packed, so we hit the road straight after lunch. We had a few spots in mind we wanted to try and get a camp at tonight, although we had never been to any of them before. It was going to be an interesting afternoon to say the least. Well, now we were on the road, we started to head towards Nambucca Heads. It had been many years since we had last been there, and Dad was really keen to explore the area and see what had changed. So we've decided to take the long way into Maxville via Nambucca Heads. It's been a long time since we've been here, and Dad wanted to come and take a look, so yeah, we decided to come through here the long way. It's been many years since we've been here. It's kind of fascinating that about 6 days ago we started this adventure way inland out on the tracks, and now we're literally on the coast. I can see the water. It's quite fascinating, and the next few days we will spend actually going down the coast. Fingers crossed it's not supposed to rain in this region for the next 24 hours, which is great. That's exactly what we want, especially now that we're kind of committing to exploring and going down the coast. Tomorrow we'll probably do a few beach runs that Josh told us about the other day up in Wallabirdar, so really keen to do that, and then we'll find ourselves down somewhere camped near Port Macquarie, so really excited. But for now, just rolling through Nambucca Heads. It's a nice little town. So we're in a slight little detour down into Nambucca Heads, as said, and we've stopped by Shelley Beach here. The boys want to have a swim. It's rough as guts out there, so don't know how long they'll last. It's really beautiful here, so we'll give you a quick look around. Shelley Beach is one of the nicer looking beaches in the Nambucca Heads region. The boys were keen to head for a swim and had been waiting for this moment for the whole trip. The moment where they would be finally at a beach and could go for a dip. This beach had change rooms available, and the view is absolutely stunning. Connecting to the back of the car park, there was a nature walk that takes you through a nice little bushwalking section with information signboards everywhere. The walk brings you out right on the breakwall, and it's a pretty cool sight. It's right on the point where the two currents mix, and the power of nature on display is pretty incredible. Well, we sat around for a while swimming and admiring the scenery of Shelley Beach, although as the afternoon progressed we thought we'd best get a crack on and find a spot to camp. Came further down along this little nature walk along the breakwall here, and there's tons of cool artwork and stuff all over the rocks here, which is really cool. The current out there though is so strong. I mean, you can just see where the heads come out here and then out there, and the two meet. It's a force to be reckoned with. The power of nature, eh? Anyway, we'll give you a quick look and head back and be on our way. What you can see in front of us is where the Nambucca River meets the ocean. The current was super strong right at the headlands, and it was a super cool sight to see. It was also cool to see how people had covered all the rocks in artwork. It added a really cool atmosphere to the place. So there's a cool little stop off there at Shelley Beach. The wind sure did mess up me hair, but I'm sure it's been messy for the whole trip. And yeah, a really cool little spot. Love to be able to camp at somewhere like that. That'd just be awesome. But now we're going to head the scenic route down into Maxville, and just fingers crossed that we can actually find a spot at this campground thing that Dad says he found. So yeah, we'll just have a look. If not, I'm sure there are plenty of other camp spots in the general vicinity, so looking forward to that. So I guess we'll see you when we get there. Whilst the boys were swimming around, Dad had been doing some research on some potential spots to camp. He reckons he found a free camp right by the river in Maxville, which is only a short drive away. So we geared up and headed there, anticipating a nice camp by the river. So this little spot here that we thought was a free camp, turns out it's no good, so we're going to have to find somewhere else to stay. So we better get onto that pretty quickly. So Dad has one more little spot in mind that we're going to go and check out, and if that's no good, then we're going to do the trek back out into the Nambucca State Forest for the night. either way, pretty excited. A little bit unfortunate that little spot didn't work out, but it was more designed for caravans and just pull in, pull up, go to bed kind of thing than the setup that we have. So yeah, we'll just see if this other little spot that Dad has is any good, and if not, then we'll end up in the state forest somewhere. So another spot that is no good, so now we're going to go and check out Nambucca State Forest. Keen for that? So yeah, hopefully it's good. Well, after coming across a few spots that we thought looked good on paper, they all turned out to be free camps designed for caravans to pull up and stop in a car-space style scenario. Definitely not practical for us. So we decided to head back up the short drive into Nambucca Heads and head down into the Nambucca State Forest. None of us had ever been in there before, and we weren't even sure if there were campsites in there. Although at this stage we had to sort something out soon, as the sun was beginning to go down, and fast. Well, it wasn't long before we were venturing down some random trail in the Nambucca State Forest, and damn did it feel good to be on the tracks again, even if it was just a short venture. The terrain down in here looked pretty standard, and we weren't expecting to come across any difficult obstacles. We were just looking for a clearing big enough for us all to fit. So we decided to take this random trail down into the Nambucca State Forest, and hopefully there'll be a clearing somewhere along here that we can camp at. So that's kind of all we're looking for. It's getting a bit late, so anything will kind of do at this stage. So yeah, let's see how this trail is. Hopefully it's not too bad, and find a good camp spot. There was a pretty cool atmosphere driving through this state forest. It was fairly clear Nambucca State Forest wasn't like some of the other state forests that we were more familiar with. There wasn't much clear direction, just a lot of random tracks in this section. We just had our fingers crossed we could find a space big enough for all 4 vehicles. As easy as that may sound, due to the recent rain, that was turning out to be a monumental challenge. Well, we really ain't having much luck here in Nambucca State Forest either. There are no marked campgrounds here. Just trying to push our way through the bush now, but yeah, not even any openings or clearings. It's just nothing. So we'll keep on looking. We were slowly losing hope of finding a camp here as we ventured down trail after trail with no success. The sun was beginning to disappear and we were running short on options. There were only a few more trails that we could go down in this state forest, so we were really hoping to find something. Otherwise, we had no more backup plans and we would be camping on the side of the road somewhere. It was, however, a really awesome drive through some of these trails. Nothing overly difficult, but it felt good to be back out in the bush again after spending a few days on the tarmac. It was looking that way that this would be one of the final full-on bush camps of the trip, so we were really hoping to find something here in the Nambucca State Forest. Well, Dad thinks he might have found a little spot, so let's check it out. Well, this is the spot that we've chosen to stay in tonight, this top little spot down here by the Nambucca River. So this is not a marked campground. We were searching through the tracks for a little while there, trying to find a spot, and Dad just happened to find this little flat area right at the base here next to the river. So as long as it doesn't rain too much, we should be right. And it's not forecast to rain for at least another 24 hours, and by then we'll be long gone. We'll be out of here heading down towards Port Macquarie. So really stoked to have the river right next to us again, and should be a good night. So we're going to get set up now, and before we lose sunlight, because it is pretty late. We did leave this one pretty late and we were searching for a good while, so I'm keen to get the rooftop tent set up. So let's get into it. There has been a few times on this trip that I was so glad to have a setup that was so quick to pop up. With the sun disappearing fast, I wanted to get bed set up and dinner on, and the Pajero was fully set up within 10 minutes. The boys took a little bit longer, but they were in the same boat. They wanted to get camp set up so they could sit back and enjoy the beautiful scenery of this spot, and it was truly amazing. After all the time that we spent searching, we could just not believe that one of the last tracks we were going to take, that we found a spot like this. Just awesome. Once camp was set up, we got on with dinner and even whipped out the old kick-ass shower tent for tonight. The day was very hot and muggy, so it was well needed. Wow, and the sun's coming out. The beauty of this area really shows. What a beautiful spot that we're very lucky to stay in. Wow, just get a look at how nice that looks. For the remainder of the night, we sat around and enjoyed the peacefulness of this amazing spot. This would be the last bush camp for the trip, so we were really soaking it in. The boys were loving it. Tomorrow we would endeavour to head towards Port Macquarie and begin our tour of the mid-north coast. Everyone was really hyped up. Well, good morning everyone. Down here in this fantastic spot still in Nambucca, and the mozzies are absolutely crazy. I don't think I've ever been bitten on the forehead before by a mozzie, but there's one right there. And I guess that's it's bearable when you have a view like this. Actually, last night when we got here, the water was pretty high, and we thought it was high tide, and then we looked it up, and actually wasn't. The water did come up pretty high last night, almost right up to here, so that was a little bit terrifying. Other than that, really nice spot down here in the Nambucca State Forest. As from what we've seen, you know, from our exploring yesterday, there's really not that many spots in this general region that you can camp in. Well, I mean, there might be, but we checked out a few trails and there really wasn't. I can see people camped directly opposite us over there, but that's kind of it. I haven't actually seen anyone else camp through here. But thank goodness that we did find this spot though, because it was pretty late and all of our options were no good until we found this. So good to be back out in the bush again. It's really really nice out here. So today we're probably going to be heading down Smoky Cape, having a look at the Smoky Cape Lighthouse, and then hitting all the beaches that go down that way. Really keen. And we'll probably end up at a campground in Port Macquarie somewhere. So nobody else is awake yet, so I'm going to get started on some breakfast. Then we'll slowly pack up and make our way out of here, if the mozzies don't carry us out of here first. So what a beautiful spot last night that we camped in. You can see it down there behind us. You got to wonder some of the spots that you find last minute when you're really not supposed to, you know what I mean? Like, we were not supposed to be camped in this Nambucca State Forest, and to be honest, there are no marked campgrounds in here at all, so I was not expecting to find anything at all. So really stoked that we did find that. And it's those type of camps, the ones that you're not supposed to find, or that you find at the very last minute, that seem to be the best, and that you don't plan for, I should say. Because that was a really awesome camp spot. The mozzies are just about carry us away, but the view is just absolutely spectacular. You can't get much more waterfront than that. So the plan today, and I guess for the rest of the trip, is to basically head down the coast now. So we've spent the last 8 days trekking inland to get out to the coast, and this is our first night really on the coast. So we started off obviously in Lithgow 8 days ago, and then we slowly made our way up to Armadale across the Waterfall Way, and now we are here. So even though we didn't get to do the Barrington Tops, which was one of the major destinations I wanted to do, if we had have stuck to the original plan, I don't think we actually would have gotten to see the Waterfall Way and all of that, because I only allocated in the trip plan that if we were an extra day ahead of schedule that we were going to do that Waterfall Way. And well, it took us like 2 days to do properly and get everything in, so I'm kind of glad that we did that, and we had that awesome camp at Wallabadar as well. That was just really spectacular. And we wouldn't actually have gotten to stay here at Nambucca Heads either, because we would be somewhere around near Singleton right now if we had stuck to the original plan. So all of this part of the trip now is not originally planned for. I have no idea where we're going to end up or really what we're doing in the days to come. It's just kind of going to be made up as we go, which is kind of really exciting. That's always where I find where the best trips come from. The only reason I actually planned this trip out was because I don't get that much time off work, and so I was going to make the most out of the time. So either way, we're in for a good time the next few days. The plan being now, today we're going to go visit Smoky Cape Lighthouse is the main thing I want to do, and then we'll slowly make our way further down the coast, hopefully do a couple of beach runs and end up camping somewhere near Port Macquarie. And then tomorrow night is actually the only thing that I do have planned, and that is to stay at Diamond Head Campground in Crowdy Bay National Park. Such a beautiful, beautiful place there, Diamond Head Campground is. It's been a long time since I've been there, probably a bit over 12 months, maybe a bit longer than that, but it's such a beautiful place. It's one of the best campgrounds in the region, and I'm really, really looking forward to going back there. The reason we had to plan that ahead is because at Diamond Head you actually have to book a physical campsite there, so it'll be interesting to see how we set that up, but well, looking forward to it either way. So again, now we're just slowly kind of packing up, everyone's slowly waking up, and then we'll get on with the day. Once everyone woke up, we got on with breakfast and then began to pack up, and we were really excited for the day ahead. This was a magical spot that we got to camp in, and it would be sad to leave it. Now we would be beginning the just over hour-long drive into the Port Macquarie region. We had one thing that we wanted to do today, and that was visit Smoky Cape Lighthouse and then drive on the beach. Everything else would just be a bonus. Jake and Tomsy had been so keen from the get-go to drive along the beach, and today, if all was to go to plan, that wait would be over. First though, we had to trek out of the Nambucca State Forest, and it will be an awesome little bit of fun heading back up the hill we came down to access this spot. Excited to be heading out now to Smoky Cape. I have never been to Smoky Cape before, and to be honest, if it wasn't for Josh turning up the other night and giving us a bunch of information on this area, I wouldn't know about it. So thanks again to Josh, and we're going to be exploring that whole region today and ending up somewhere near Port Macquarie. So the weather thankfully has held out for us. Didn't rain last night, and fingers crossed that we had seen the worst of it a couple of days ago while we were going through Ebor and Dorrigo. So hopefully now it's all good, because we're heading to the coast, so of course ideally we would like clear weather. That would be the best. So fingers crossed, and I'm really keen to head and check out Smoky Cape and all the way down there in that whole region. Our first destination was Smoky Cape Lighthouse, a heritage listed lighthouse around an hour's north of Port Macquarie. This would be the start of an adventure down the northern section of coast above Port Macquarie, checking out Hat Head, Crescent Head, and then eventually catching the ferry into Port Macquarie. This plan on paper was awesome and was definitely the most adventure-filled route into Port Macquarie. It wasn't long before we were closing in on Smoky Cape Lighthouse. Built in the late 1800s, this lighthouse stands as a monument high on the seaside cliffs in the Hat Head National Park. The name Smoky Cape was given to the spot by Captain James Cook after he seen an Aboriginal smoking ceremony on these very cliffs in 1770. The lighthouse was erected in that very spot just over 100 years later in 1891. The view from the lighthouse is apparently stunning and we were so eager to check it out. We've arrived at Smoky Cape Lighthouse. We're about to walk up and check out the view. If that's any indicator. Kind of excited. So as you can see, there are actually cars on that beach. So we are going to be driving down there shortly, and that's going to be a part of our route to get down to Hat Head. So looking forward to that. So let's begin this walk up to the lighthouse and show you guys around. It was a fairly steep but beautiful walk up the hill to Smoky Cape Lighthouse. As said before, the name Smoky Cape was given to the location in 1770 by Captain James Cook after observing an Aboriginal smoking ceremony on these very cliffs. The lighthouse has stood here since 1891 and has seen its fair share of history. The view from the walk was absolutely stunning. The lighthouse was located on the highest point of the cliff, so either side there was an absolutely stunning view. About halfway up the walk, there are actually small cottages that can be rented out right on the cliffside. They would offer an absolutely stunning view over some of the mid-north coast's finest scenery. So what a view from the top of Smoky Cape Lighthouse. There's the lighthouse behind me, still in use today. Have a look at that. Wow, how awesome are the views from up here. How nice is that, eh? So we're looking down at the cars down there on the beach thinking that's going to be us later. It's going to be a really long drive. We've got to go all the way down to Hat Head, which is actually at the other end of the beach. So looking forward to that. Just got to play the tide right, make sure we do everything right, and we should be right. Anyway, just going to stay up here for a little bit and continue to admire the beautiful view of Smoky Cape Lighthouse. It's absolutely stunning here. Actually, one pretty cool thing about this is that you could probably see whales at the right time of year off the coast here. That's one thing I kind of forgot to mention before, is that, you know, obviously in nice conditions like this, and you can see pretty far out, you'll be able to see whales at the right time of year. So how cool is that? So another good thing to mention is that the weather actually really stood out for us this time and came clear. So you really can't be much happier than that. That is the ideal outcome, considering that we were getting absolutely hammered with rain the last couple of days. The sun's out, we're happy. Alright, so we're going to get a move on now. Go let the tyres down and head onto the beach. The tide will be in fully in a couple of hours, so we really want to get that done before we potentially get stuck on there. So the aim is to get off the beach down at Hat Head and then make our way down further to Crescent Head. So see how we go. Let's go let some air out of the tyres. Beach access from Smoky Cape Lighthouse isn't that far away, just 2 kilometres back down at the bottom of the hill in the campground. Now we would be adjusting our pressures accordingly, even though at the right time of day the sand will be firm enough down near the water for us to leave them up. We weren't going to take any chances of getting bogged though. Right down to 12 psi for me and around the same for the others. Righto, just airing down now before we head onto the beach. Heading right down to the 10 to 12 psi mark due to my weight. Should be good. And then we're going to make our way down there. Hopefully it's a smooth run. Should be a lot of fun, the first beach run of the trip, really looking forward to it. So yeah, everyone's running around the same PSI, should be a good one. It didn't take us long to be aired right down and ready to take on the beach. This was our first beach run of the trip and we were all really excited to get into it. Wow, how beautiful is it along this beach? Absolutely stunning. The tide is coming in, so we are doing our best to make some ground fairly quickly. It's just a beautiful drive along this beach here. So we got on at Smoky Cape campground and we're hoping to get off down at Hat Head. Actually had a local come up to us just as we were going on saying, oh, you don't need to air down. But I don't think he realised that the tide was coming in, and by the looks of it, tide gets all the way up to the sand dunes here, so this is literally a race against time. We also seen one of our mates on this beach. We didn't even know he was here, so yeah, it was good stuff. So it was an awesome little beach run down there from Smoky Cape to Hat Head on that beach. It was awesome, I think. Really good one to start the trip off. The weather is just beautiful now, so great scenery through that beach. It's really, really windy and the tide is just about all the way in, so I think we got off at the perfect time. Otherwise we might have had a bit of water touching the wheels there if we kept going. Anyway, so we're in Hat Head now. We're going to explore around a little bit and hopefully end up somewhere around Point Plummer for camp a little bit further down. Absolutely beautiful area, so I'm really excited to explore it and hope you guys are too. So we're just going to put some air in the tyres before we get back on the road. What an awesome turnout for our first beach run. We will be airing right back up now as most of the rest of the day consisted of tarmac driving. We will be exploring the Hat Head and Crescent Head region. We hadn't been down this way before and there were many campgrounds along the route that we would be taking. We didn't have a camp plan for tonight though. All that we knew was that in the morning we wanted to catch the Point Plummer ferry into Port Macquarie and then make our way down to Diamond Head tomorrow night. And so the exploring begins as we search around for a spot to camp tonight. This region was stunning, so it will be really hard to disappoint at this stage. So what an awesome little beach run we just had there, down from the Smoky Cape Lighthouse to Hat Head. Awesome little run there. We're now just going to continue to follow this route that should take us down by another beach and then into Crescent Head, where we're probably going to have some lunch hopefully. Really looking forward to the views because they're supposed to be spectacular. Driving through this region was really stunning. There was lush green grass everywhere and a lot of water around. It was clear that even though the weather was fine today, that it had rained a lot in the last few days. The route into Crescent Head didn't take us long either, and unfortunately most of the shops were closed due to the time of day that we arrived. We missed the bistro by a mere 5 minutes. Nonetheless, we weren't going to let that ruin the afternoon as we continued to head south on towards Port Macquarie. So I've just come through Crescent Head and stopped off and grabbed a couple of things to cook up for lunch, and now we're going to head down and hopefully set up an early camp. Fingers crossed that we can get a spot. It is a Saturday today. I didn't realise because we've been off out and about for the last week and a bit, so I wasn't really paying attention to what day it was. So there's probably going to be a fair few people around. Fingers crossed though that we can actually get a spot here. It is pretty early. It's only 2:30 in the afternoon, so we'll go down, hopefully set up. The boys can go have a swim like they wanted to, and yeah, we'll get some lunch going. Well, what we thought was going to be a breezy afternoon and an early camp turned out to be a little bit of a struggle. All the previously mentioned campsites along this route were chockers, and that was mostly due to it being a Saturday. Due to the fact that we'd been touring around for most of the last week and a half, we really didn't pay much attention to what day it was, and well, safe to say we timed this one pretty poorly. We were determined to find a spot somewhere around here though, but it was back to the drawing board for us. Alright, so another little setback that we've had here is that all the campgrounds along this row here are completely full. I mean, I guess we were kind of expecting that considering it is a Saturday. And so we're really, again, stuck. I'm not too sure what to do or where we're going to be camping. So that's what we're trying to figure out now. We're up here at, it's called Racecourse. It's an absolutely beautiful view, but it's very, very windy. So I'll give you guys a look at this beautiful view while we figure out what we're going to do. Well, we all grabbed the maps out and started to devise a plan. All the spots along this road where we looked were national park campgrounds, meaning that most people would have probably had them booked out for a while. Looking at the map, we could see a small road that headed right down to the Point Plummer ferry, which is where we were heading in the morning anyway. We knew from the satellite images that the road was not tarmac, and that not every vehicle would be able to get down there. Josh also mentioned to us back in Wallabadar that the last section of the Point Plummer Road was four-wheel drive only. We also knew that there were no marked campgrounds down there, that people could crowd up. We decided that we would go down along this road to look for a spot, hoping that we were still early enough in the day that others wouldn't already be crowded up in all the spots down there. Our fingers were really crossed. So we hit the road swiftly, and it wasn't long before the tarmac disappeared. For the first few kilometres it was fairly easy going, but then the track narrowed out and became really rocky. It was pretty clear to us that limited people would have been able to get access down here, and that is exactly what we wanted. This little road has surely narrowed out and actually become some sort of a track. Had to put it into four-wheel drive now. It's very, very narrow, only one way basically, and yeah, that really changed really quickly. Did not expect that at all. So hopefully we're closing in on the Point Plummer ferry. As we got closer and closer to the ferry, the conditions weren't improving one bit. We started to notice little side tracks running off the trail that we were on. We didn't really think much of it and actually passed a fair few. Then I decided that we probably weren't going to stumble across anything on this track without venturing down one of these side tracks. I had no idea where they went, but I thought, heck, why not give it a try? It could be our only hope at this stage. So we powered on for a little while longer through these rocky conditions, going really, really slow and avoiding all the potholes on the track, until we found another one of these little side trails. Now it was time to adventure down there and see what was on the other side. So we seem to have found a camp spot for the night, right here next to the beach. It is very, very windy, so we won't be doing any awnings tonight, but it's a pretty nice spot actually. I'll give you guys a quick look around before we start setting up. What an absolutely awesome spot. If we had have known that all these trails leading off the track led us out onto the beach, we could have saved so much time rather than driving down the rocky track. Nevertheless, we were so stoked. This was the last thing we expected, and this day had really come good in the end. The boys were so excited to be camping in a spot like this. As we said at Shelley Beach, how awesome would it be to camp somewhere like this, and now I think we are camped somewhere even better than there. The view here was absolutely amazing. So we have sort of changed our camping area just around the corner a little bit more hidden away out of the wind, and it's off the track. So just in this little embankment here. Cool little spot. No one is going to be putting up their awnings tonight because it's so windy. And we're just going to get some food on and then just chill around for a little while, and probably have an early one tonight. And then we'll be off to Diamond Head tomorrow. We managed to find a small section a little bit further down than the track opening that had much more of a firm bottom and was sheltered from the wind. It was the perfect size for all of us to fit too. It was like this spot was made for us. Well, we got on with setting things up and it was very, very windy, so we decided not to put the awnings up and just roll the swags out. The Pajero literally took 2 minutes to set up as I was just popping the wildlands up. Truly in its element on this trip, it was so convenient having this set up and I was so happy with it. Everyone else got set up in a timely manner as well, and Dad was running the crash pad swag and stretcher combo and he was loving it. He'll be well off tonight being elevated above the sand. Well, now we're all set up, we were all looking forward to just sitting around and admiring the view. Wow, it's moments like these that we do all this for, that we go through all the effort, build the trucks, come to these remote places, all for stuff like this. Absolutely beautiful. For the rest of the afternoon, we were busy admiring the beauty of this spot. As the sun set, it created an incredible atmosphere that we hadn't had at any other spot on this trip. Truly amazing. Well, we got the fire cranking and the sun slowly disappeared, and before we knew it, we were heading for bed. On that note, this will conclude the 6th part to this epic adventure. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss next week's episode, the big finale, where we will finally finish up this trip touring down the New South Wales mid-north coast. As well as, if you have not already, make sure you go and check out all the other episodes in this epic adventure-filled series. As always, thanks for watching and we will see you in part 7.